The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
What's up and what's happening, everybody? It's Blake and Dustin, and we are back for another episode of the Uptempo Podcast. Dustin, man, how was your Memorial Day weekend? I'm excited to have you on. We're here to talk some Auburn Tigers baseball, brother.
I got a little pot belly, dude. I got a little pot belly. Hamburger, pulled pork sandwich, some stuffed tater tot casserole. I pigged out, dude. Maybe got a little drunk yesterday, so maybe it was a recovery day today. It's been a good weekend, man. I've definitely enjoyed the break.
Love to hear that, Dustin. And this weekend was, family time and everything. But let's not forget why we actually celebrate this weekend, right? And especially this Monday. It is for all of those who gave the ultimate sacrifice, all of those who served for us to be able to live in this amazing country, to be able to sit down and do this podcast, Dustin, to watch Auburn baseball on the weekends, to do whatever in the hell we want to do with our lives, man. And that is why we celebrate a day like today, man. And I just want to thank each and every one of you. If you were military and you watched this show, Coast Guard, Navy, Army, Air Force, it doesn't matter, any branch. If you're part of the reserves, I don't care. I stand up and I give you my thanks and my appreciation from the bottom of my heart, because this is the greatest country in the world, Dustin. And I think sometimes we take it for granted, brother. I think sometimes we're so spoiled, and we take our freedom for granted, and we push things that sometimes we just have no idea what we're talking about, and and we just don't know really and truly how good we have it, brother. And that is why I wanted to mention that first and foremost.
Yeah.
But
I'll say something about that real quick, man. I was sitting there watching today, just watching some of the stuff on History Channel. Obviously, they're doing like Memorial Day stuff, history, war stuff. Dude, World War II was one person ago. Like, that was 1942, to 1945 is when America participated anyway. That wasn't that long ago. So, like, it's still important. And if you think that it can't happen again, then you just don't understand human history and the way these things work. So, yeah, big shout out to those guys, and we appreciate it. And so all those guys that, on D-Day and all that, like, never forget them, because that is the 19-year-old kids, making the ultimate sacrifice. That's tough.
Man, that's a gut punch right there, brother, just to sit there and think about that and what those guys had to endure.
Same age as the Auburn baseball team we're watching, right?
Crazy. Yeah. The United States of America, man, best country in the world, and it'll always be like that. So, Dustin, let's move on, man. And before we get into the baseball stuff, brother, some exciting news, some big time news has come out on the basketball side of things. Johni Broom has announced his return to the Auburn Tigers. Bruce Pearl dropping a big boom on Twitter, and Johni releasing the video saying, "I'm back, brother." I mean, how big is this for the Auburn Tigers?
Oh, massive. You know what I was saying? If he doesn't come back, you're looking at a 12 to 15 win season. And everybody that killed me for that, I said, if he doesn't come back. So he's back, scratch that. Because otherwise, man, you were just looking at what were you going to do at the 5 spot? You were going to bump Dylan up and then hope to find somebody. What's left in the portal here? It's got to be scraps. I mean, I haven't looked at it in a little bit, but I don't think there's some big ballers left. So this was crucial. And boy, he made it interesting, because when he got his opportunity, he balled out in the G League, and we're proud of him that he made it that interesting. He did better than I thought he would do. So now all eyes are on him. Let's have this big season, and like Bruce said in his tweet, let's work our way into the first round, and let's have that good regular season and make that March run. That's when those scouts will really look at it, and that's one thing I've noticed about this team. This will be a junior and senior laden team coming up, so experience shouldn't be an issue. It'll just kind of be how do those new pieces like the Chad kid and the Denver Jones, the Channing Johnson, Aiden Holloway, how do those pieces kind of mesh? It'll be exciting, but this is a big day for us because, boy, without Johni, we were going to be flapping in the breeze.
Yeah, Dustin, I know we talked a little bit before recording, man.
That was
How,
scary.
yeah, how nervous were you?
I was petrified. And then when it was coming out today that like different people, and this is no shot at those people, it's just I'm a jaded Auburn fan, man. I am. I'll admit it. I'm the Auburn fan that's waiting on the bad shoe to drop. I'm sorry. I've been doing it my whole life. I know how this works. And remind me when we get into another point later on about some of the complaining going on about Auburn hosting a regional. I'm going to bring that point back up. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so I was expecting the worst. I know it was reported that his family had met with Auburn a couple times this weekend. I'm just guessing, no inside knowledge here. I'm just guessing he got a little bit of a pay raise from On to Victory.
Yeah, man. Look, he's the kind of guy that we had to have back, right?
Absolutely.
And like you mentioned, you had to bring him back in order for this team next year to be successful. So Bruce getting that job done, and look, Johni put on a hell of a show at the G League camp, and he's gonna be that guy, but he needed to come back for the one more year, develop his game even more, get his footwork down, and show some more tape to these NBA scouts. So, man, let's move over here into the baseball side of things. And this is a big topic right now. It seems like it set the Twitter world on fire. The Auburn Tigers get the 13th national seed. The Auburn Tigers are hosting for the first time ever in back-to-back years in program history.
Yeah.
And it set the Twitter world on fire, Dustin, because Ben Upton from the 11.7 podcast said that the Auburn Tigers did not deserve to host because of their RPI. They were the only team outside of the top 15 who is hosting. They're the only team outside of the top 15 in RPI who is hosting. So what are your thoughts on that? And the teams that didn't get to host, like a Campbell or a Southern Miss, who is actually in Auburn's region. What are your thoughts on that, and maybe their arguments compared to Auburn's?
I don't get it. Here's what I don't get about it, Blake. Beforehand, before Selection Sunday, everyone was saying Auburn was projected. I saw us projected as high as the 11. Mm-hmm. So I went into Sunday knowing we were going to get to host a regional. It was just what will be the overall seed. There wasn't a doubt. That was established at the end of the regular season.
Yep.
So why all of a sudden the pissing and moaning? And, oh, man, let's pretend Auburn called a break, which we didn't. We earned it. Let's pretend we called a break. Okay. Auburn got a break for 1 out of every 100 times. Get over it, dude. Like, things don't go our way. Something, if you're claiming that was something that we got something because of the position that John Cohen holds, well, cool. We knew somebody for once. Consider who our arch rival is and what we normally go through. Look what we just went through in softball. I ain't trying to hear that, bro. And then, like, look at the teams we beat out of conference: USC, Lipscomb, Indiana. Where are they at right now? Then look at what we did in the SEC. That's what happens when you beat LSU, man. That's what happens when you go and win out South Carolina. That's what happens when you finish a month as the hottest team in the country in the SEC. You host a regional. Mm-hmm. What was it? No SEC teams ever won 17 games and not hosted? You thought we were going to be the one?
Yeah, and Dustin, my thing with that is everybody wants to throw John Cohen's name in there and say, "Oh, well, he's on the board and he's the head official on the board and the selection committee, and he's the reason Auburn's hosting." False. I'm tired of hearing that narrative being pushed. It's stupid. It's lazy. It's not good. Okay. John Cohen has to leave the room anytime Auburn is brought up. Okay. Now, I think RPI is skewed in college baseball, and I think that they have to do something about that immediately. Okay. But hear me out. Strength of schedule matters. Okay. And the people you play matter. All right. Southern Miss. All right. I can't help it. I'm sorry. The people you play matter. Campbell, I'm sorry, but you don't have to go through the stretch of
Right.
Alabama, South Carolina, LSU. I know Ole Miss was down, but Ole Miss, Arkansas, all the Mississippi State, you don't have you don't have to go through the gauntlet. So I don't want to sit here and say that these teams are bad baseball teams, because they're certainly not. We got a guy from Southern Miss coming to our regional by the name of Tanner Hall, and he's a stud for Southern Miss on the mound. Okay, they're a damn good baseball team. But I think your strength of schedule plays a huge factor, and it played a huge factor for Auburn to host this regional, because they did go through the gauntlet, and out of 30 SEC games, you won 17 of them.
Right.
So you're in the best conference in the country. This conference is hosting 8 national seeds. Okay, that is 50%. Okay, it's unheard of. This is the best conference in college baseball, bar none. The best conference in college sports, in my opinion. Okay,
Yeah,
and it's not close. It's not close. But the SEC is the premier, and it is the premier conference. It is the cream of the crop. It is the best of the best. And I posted a short the other day of Mikey Matuk when we had him on. We said, man, what is the SEC compared like? And he said, dude, I think the SEC is just as difficult as AA ball, maybe even a little harder. And this is a guy who played 6 years in professional baseball. All right, so you want to sit here and tell me that a team that goes 17-13 in a league like that doesn't deserve to host a regional, and they're hosting because their athletic director gets a say? Get out of here, man. That's garbage. That's a lazy take. And I expected a little bit better from the 11.7 podcast.
Yeah,
I'll
that's a
say
good
that.
point. That's a good point.
I expected better from you. And Ben Upton has had his name. He's had Auburn's name in his mouth for 3 days now.
Right.
And like you mentioned, Dustin, we knew at the end of the regular season, people were DMing me and saying, Blake, what do we have to do to host a regional? And I said, you beat Missouri in the SEC tournament, and it's a lock, right? It's a for sure lock. Now, we thought we were locked, but you beat Missouri in the SEC tournament, and it's a for sure lock. All right, you're locked in there. Instead of being the 15th, 16th national seed, you're probably going to be anywhere from 11 to 13 or 14. So people also ask me, Dustin, what do you want to do in Hoover? And I did that little episode without you, and I said, win games, but I don't know if I want to win the tournament. I think it would be huge for the program, but I don't necessarily want to win the tournament. I want to win a game, maybe 2 games, maybe start getting into that top 8 national seed. Maybe there was a possibility you beat Missouri, you beat Vanderbilt, and you climb in there, and you could possibly win a 3rd game and become a top 8 seed. There was some rumblings about that, but I feel like you did what you had to do, and I really wasn't mad losing to Vanderbilt and then turning around and losing to Alabama, because we typically don't play well in Hoover. And I like that little week of rest, brother. Like, I think that it's served us well the past couple of years. And I just wanted to get your take, because I know we missed a recap on the tournament games, because the first 2 were at midnight. They didn't go off until 1:30 in the morning. And so I just wanted to get your thoughts on how you felt about Hoover, and were you let down that we lost to Vandy and then followed it up with a loss to Alabama? What were your thoughts, man?
So my overall view on conference tournaments, and now with the new structure in college football on the SEC champion, I don't care about it. If you're locked into the big dance in basketball, I don't care. I don't want to play extra games and risk injury. If you're locked into the tournament in baseball, I don't care. I don't want to play extra games or risk injury. And now with a 12-team playoff in football, I ask you this. Would you rather be one of the 2 teams playing in the SEC championship at 11-1, 12-0, or would you rather be 10-2, the 9 or 10 seed, and you don't have to play that game? You see what I'm saying? That game now serves as an extra playoff game that serves no purpose. So to me, I'm all for it. I don't, and like, we need Herbert Holtz back. We saw how one just right there, right? One pitch and a guy goes. So anything can happen in any game. What if Chris Stanfield would have rolled his wrist or something, diving out for a ball? What if Case and Howe would have been going to center field in a meaningless tournament game and smashed his shoulder up against the wall? Anything can happen. I'm glad we're out of it. I just don't give a damn, Blake. I just don't care about it.
Talk to me. I feel the same way, man. And that's the reason I really wasn't let down about getting knocked out. We did what we needed to do. And look, I'm not some participation trophy guy or anything like that. I always say that I want to win. All right. Because I want to feel what Vandy felt, because I think it would be huge for the program. But I also looked at where we were really at. And once you lose to Vandy, it's kind of like, hey, look, get out of here. All right. Sure. And I feel like, you can kill me for saying this if you want to come at me for saying this, but I truly felt like Butch against Alabama said, hey, look, we're going to give some guys some at-bats. We're going to play some people. All right. And we're not going to try to come back. If we do, that's great. But I'm going to pitch hit a Mikey Bello. I'm going to play a Brody Wortham, and he stuck with Carter Wright as long as he could behind the plate until Alabama stole 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 bags.
Yeah. I think some people learned a lesson that day, or at least I hope they did.
Hey, how about that tweet I sent out?
Yeah. I hope they get it now.
Yeah. What Nate LaRue actually means to this baseball team, huh? It's crazy, Dustin. We tried to tell him, and good, good for Nate, man. He's been hitting and he's been playing really well. But yeah, I was kind of right there on that, where like, hey, let's get out of here. Let's don't get hurt. Get Christian Herbert Holtz back, and let's prepare for this regional to make a run to Omaha, Nebraska. And this morning, Dustin, we find out who we are matched up with in our regional. Auburn gets the number 13 overall seed, and they will be matched up with the number 4 overall seed, the Clemson Tigers, for a super regional matchup. But first, we got to get there, and we have Penn as the 4 seed, all right, from the Ivy League. Checked a little bit of them out earlier today, was doing a little homework on them. Not a bad ball club, man. They're really impressive to be, look, I don't want to sound, I'm not knocking anybody here, but to be an Ivy League school, they're impressive. They're an impressive club. Don't take them lightly. All right. They've won 30 plus games. They're not bad. All right. At the 3 seed, we know who we are getting with Sanford. Okay. We have played them this year. Sanford's a good ball club as well. They're a 3 seed for a reason. They can hit, they can pitch, and they play us. They always play us tough. That's an in-state little rivalry. And it's one of those where, to me, Dustin, the Sanford guys have a chip on their shoulder when they play. They have something to prove, bro. Like when they play a Auburn or an Alabama, they're saying, hey, why didn't you recruit me? Or there's a chip on their shoulder there. But then the big seed in this region, man, the big seed in this region is the Southern Miss Golden Eagles. And
scary.
This is a team, like we were just talking about, that thought they deserved to host a regional, and they get sent right up the street to your regional as the 2 seed. I want to start right here first. Let's start with game 1, Dustin. I don't want to skip ahead to Southern Miss because, we're not about that. We're not going to just check mark a dub in the box, right? We're going to handle Penn first. We're going to take this thing one at a time, man. What do you think about Penn And who do you think gets the ball in game one for Auburn Friday night?
See, this was a question I was going to ask you, is because to me, it's the most, like, if I was going to write out a key for this regional, to me, it's getting at least solid 4 innings out of your starters.
Mm-hmm.
And so whoever goes game one, man, and Butch often has some unique strategies that later on he does them, and then I go, oh damn, that's why he's making the money.
Mm-hmm.
But man, so I'm gonna just say Tommy Vale, because it's just get him in there, get that win, get in that winner's bracket, get started on the right foot. Hopefully he can give you 6-7 good innings. You get to save your bullpen for as long as you can. And then if you get into a situation, maybe the last game of the regional, where you need him to come in and give you an inning or two in relief, he can be available, maybe. But so for me, game one, just because it's about hopping in that winner's bracket and saving that pin as much as you can. But when Tommy goes game one, or if it's Chase or whoever it is, they need to give you, man, I mean, six solid game one would make me feel really good.
Okay, I'm gonna take an opposite route here than you, Dustin. I'm gonna go Chase Alsop gets the start Friday night against Penn. And here's the reason why, is because I need, like you said, I need Chase to go 6-7 innings. All right. I need him to put up one of those performances against Penn, dominate with the fastball, locate it, have the off speed for a strike, be throwing it for a strike, have quick innings, man, handle Penn. Okay. Handle them, get in there just like you did last year with Southeastern Louisiana, right? You come out, you handled game one with authority, and you left a stamp on that regional, and you let UCLA and Florida State know that you meant business. So that is what I want to happen. We're going to be facing Ryan Drumbowski. Okay, I hopefully I said that right. He's got a 2.87 ERA for Penn this year. Okay, opponent's batting average against him is 189. I just looked this up. Yeah, the dude has 7 wins on the year in 12 appearances, 2 losses, so he went 7-2 in 12 starts. He has 62 and 2/3 innings pitched. He has struck out 87 people. He has 5 wild pitches, no balks. He has hit 7 batters, and he has walked 31 people. All right. I watched a little bit of their game against South Carolina, and I wanted to tell people this. They played a 3-game set to open up the year against South Carolina, and they played South Carolina really damn well. They played them close. It was tight. This cat pitched game 1 opening day, and I think he lost 6-5. Now, we didn't know what South Carolina was then. We didn't know that they were the team that we were eventually going to see at the end of the year, but they're still a damn good ball club, right? And this guy can pitch, man. He does, like I said, the 31 walks. He does get a little sporadic and lose command here and there. And one thing I do think Auburn can do to Penn is attack Penn on the base pads. All right. I watched the catcher a little bit. Okay. He doesn't have that strong of an arm, so I think if a Stanfield can get on, we can create some havoc on the base pads early against Penn. But we need to come out and score early, and I think Chase has to limit damage, because these cats, they can hit. All right, and I posted a thing a while ago saying that the Wyatt Hensler kid, I posted the stats on Twitter. Dude's a problem. 17 bombs. He's got like a 683 slugging percentage. He's got like 60 something hits. Listen to these batting averages, Dustin. Cole Palace, 338. Davis Baker, 330. Ben Miller, 328. Wyatt Hensler, 316. Jackson Uphill, 302. All right. These dudes, they can swing it. Now, they don't have much pop. Like the Wyatt kid, he's like their only guy in double-digit home runs. All right, so they don't have a much pop, but they do play small ball, Dustin. I noticed in the game against South Carolina, they were bunting, moving people over, sacrificing, getting the guy from first to second with less than 2 outs. So Auburn's got to be ready for that, brother. And this is I know a lot of people look at Penn and they say, "Oh, Auburn's going to kill them." Don't sleepwalk. Don't sleepwalk on this game. Penn, they're a damn good quality opponent, Dustin, and this is going to be a tough one. But we definitely, I think we're going Chase, Dustin.
Yeah, I like that. So the important thing here is get off to a fast start. Get off to a fast start. Game one. Don't get into you gotta have good chase if that's the case, because you know what happens when you have bad chase. There's a whole bunch of walks and hit batters, and when Chase is off, he can't even find the strike zone, bro. There's really not a whole lot of in between with Chase. So that would be a nightmare scenario to me. Is all of a sudden you're an inning and a half in this thing and you're going to the pen and you're down a couple runs and you've already got the plainsman crowd out of it. We need to do what we did last year, because last year we attacked teams. I mean, good God, that first inning of the first game, but even UCLA, Florida State, we attacked them.
Mm-hmm.
And then that crowd's behind you at that point, and it's hard to win when you got the crowd at your back the way we had it last year. That should be the goal.
So let me ask you this. With Southern Miss playing Samford, do you think Southern Miss comes out and they throw Tanner Hall, their ace, against Samford in game one? Or do they save Tanner Hall for Auburn, thinking that they can beat Samford in that first game? How do you think that goes?
Yeah, I wish I knew more about, how they played, and more about their manager, kind of what his strategy would be. Do we play first or do they play first?
Nah, they play first. They play first at 1:00. We play at 6.
Yeah, see, if I was them, knowing our bats, I would probably wait. I would probably save Hall.
Yeah.
Just saying, okay, if it goes chalk, we're going to play Auburn, and then we're going to play Auburn at some point. Yeah, I would probably save him. That would probably be my
That's oh, my wife's calling, but I will text her and let her know that I'm on the podcast. Yeah. So I think Southern Miss is going to save Tanner Hall as well. I think you're going to get a Tanner Hall, Tommy Vale matchup Saturday at Plainsman Park. And
that would be fun. That would be a lot of fun. And something that's just important to remember about the Southern Miss team, Blake. And now their website was a little wonky, so maybe I'm off a little bit here, but I counted their last 20 games, because they went to Coastal Carolina and they got smoked.
Mm-hmm.
And then since that point, in their last 20 games, they're 18-2. Confident ball club. So whatever decisions they make, they're going to feel good about it. They're feeling themselves right now, and they should be. We're hot, and they're damn hot. And they won their conference tournament, and the SoCon ain't no joke. I mean, Troy, who I just mentioned, Coastal, Lafayette is in there. So that's a tough league. Yeah, it's a tough league.
Yeah. Yes. They're good, man. They're good. I actually know, I know somebody on their team, the Sargent kid. He grew up playing baseball with my brother, and he's a baller, and they're good, man. They can hit, they can pitch. They play fundamental baseball. They're not going to shoot themselves in the foot. And that is really what I when I look at Auburn, man, I don't think Auburn can come out and make these errors.
Right.
Like Vanderbilt, we saw that, man. The errors shoot us in the foot a lot. We were in that ball game, and Enrique Bradfield hits a chopper, and Cole thinks he doesn't have the time that he actually has, because Enrique moves down the line so fast. And we throw it away, and there you go. The onslaught's on, and we find ourselves. Dude, I had a 30-minute conversation on the golf course yesterday about one man changing a baseball game, and Enrique Bradfield is that dude, bro.
Yeah, that's unbelievable, man. He's an unbelievable player.
He is filthy, dude. He does it offensively, defensively. You can just see him in the dugout helping other guys. Like, hey, this is what he's throwing. This is what you need to look for. This is what you need to sit on. He's just always in the game, and it feels like he's a step ahead. Sometimes it feels like he's even ahead of Corbin over there, man. Like, and by the way, that's the Nick Saban of baseball. I mean,
yeah, they're doing their thing.
man, the Vanderbilt Commodores, here's my thing. I still think LSU is the premier baseball program in the conference and in the country. Honestly, I think LSU is the greatest program of all time in college baseball. But Vanderbilt and what they have done just in my era is absolutely incredible, man. But Dustin, I wanted to ask you, do you see this Auburn team moving on to the super regionals?
Hell yeah.
Love it.
Hell
Love
yeah. I'm not going to pick against the boys, man. Not now. Yeah. So the key is just, to me, it's just throw strikes. Like the pitching doesn't have to be perfect. Just throw strikes and limit the mistakes. Because by the time you get into like a fourth game of a regional, I'm not expecting you to win a game 2-1. We're going to get our hits. Just don't give up 10, 11 runs. Just limit the mistakes. When you have the easy outs, take the easy outs. When you have a guy on first and second with one out and it's Ike Irish at the plate, don't call for the bunt for the love of God and get an automatic out. Like I can't stand that when we have guys that hit. Let that thing rip, baby. So to me, it's just play our game and throw strikes. And if they hit it a little bit, they hit it a little bit. But like you talked about all the time, I'd much rather see that, and that's more sustainable. And it's just the walks, dude, they're so demoralizing. Like the hit batters, they're so demoralizing. Like you can live with a single when a guy just slaps the ball, man. It's like, all right, he got it. I tried to jam him inside. He bloops he gets a Texas leaker over the second base. I can deal with that. That's fine. You're throwing strikes. But when you walk 3-4 guys in a row and you walk in a run, and it's good. That sucks the momentum out of the stadium. It sucks the energy out of the dugout. It sucks the energy out of you sitting on the couch. It's just demoralizing to everybody. So to me, it's all about throwing strikes, keeping the crowd at your back, and using that as an advantage all weekend, using that as your 10th guy, and just don't make the mistakes, man. Get the easy outs. These guys haven't seen us. I'm sure they're going to do their scouting reports, but they're going to make mistakes, okay? They're going to round third, and they're going to try Bobby Pierce. They're going to round third, and they're going to try Chris Stanfield. So when we got them pegged, catch that ball, get them. Just the simple things. Just when the plays are there to make them. Limit the mistakes and throw strikes, because the hitting will take care of itself. We'll score runs, especially once you get into the second, third game of the regionals, and you're facing the back end of these other teams' bullpens. We're going to be slapping it. So it's just about Auburn handling Auburn. If Auburn does everything if Auburn just takes care of Auburn, we go to the super regional. And I got a funny feeling like we might be getting that Tennessee series that we got mad that we didn't get in the regular season.
Okay, so that leads me into my next question, actually, because I was going to ask you, how do you feel about being matched up against the Clemson Super Regional with them at the 4 seed and us at the 13 seed?
I want Tennessee.
Yeah, I do too.
I want Tennessee, and I want Bobby Pierce to hit a home run, and I want him to take his freaking bat and sling it into their dugout. I want him to try to hit the back of their dugout and just stare at him the entire way. That's what I want.
You're not a Tony Vitello fan?
Oh my God, dude. Who is?
Nobody.
Come on, listen, dude, I have seen a million walk-offs in my life. I have never seen a walk-off where the guy then rounds first base flicking off the other team. And I can even accept that if there's beef. But that was it was a regional, right? Yeah, that was a regional where those teams had never played, and you're shooting the bird on the walk-off, and there's no beef.
And look, like the Drew Gilbert one, when he hits the walk-off and everything, and he looks over at their dugout and he throws the bat up, and they're all going crazy. They were down 8-5 and he hits a walk-off grand slam, right? Bro, that was against a 4 seed in Wright State. Okay. You're acting like that against a 4 seed against Wright State. And I wanted to bring this up real quick too, because Cole Foster hit a ball against Missouri the other night, and he immediately turned around to the dugout. All right, let's fucking go. All right. Excuse my French. I'm sorry, but
that's what he said.
Yeah, that's what he said. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So if you're mad about that, let me tell you something. You have no idea what that moment meant to the Auburn baseball team. The top half of that inning, Auburn felt like they got hosed. All right. Auburn felt like Tommy Vale made a pitch for strike 3. It didn't get called. The next pitch, Mizzou gets a hit. They take the lead in that moment. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, what was the one thing Auburn had to do in the SEC tournament to solidify a hosting spot was to beat Mizzou, Dustin.
Yeah.
All right. That locked it up. All right. So this was a huge game for Auburn. And Cole looked over there in the dugout and he was like, hey, man, we seem kind of down. Like, we're not playing our best game right now. I got to make something happen. Dude hits one to Mars. All right. He hit it to Mars. I don't think the ball has landed yet. It's somewhere. It could possibly be somewhere up on 280 right now, still lingering. All right. But that's how far he hit it. All right. I actually said he hit it to Spain Park High School because it was a monster shot. So, the thing in baseball is the unwritten rule is you never show up an opponent, right? Cole didn't show up anybody on Missouri. He immediately slung his bat to the side and looked in our dugout. Hey, let's go. All right. He didn't look at the Missouri pitcher and say, yeah, throw a better pitch. You know, it's different, man. And that game meant a lot for Auburn. And you just don't see Auburn carry themselves like that in the way Tennessee does. And that is what makes me want Tennessee in a super regional at Plainsman Park. Now, am I worried about Clemson? Hell of a ball team, hell of a ball club, great pitching, great hitting. They are probably now the hottest team in the country. Them dudes hadn't lost since, I think, like April 19th or something like that. And they just won the ACC tournament. They're on fire. I'm not scared to play them because I think that we would match up well with them. It's on the road, but I remember the last time we went on the road in a super regional and played an ACC team, and we absolutely skull drug them. You know, it went to a game 3 in North Carolina, but we skull drug them, bro. And so no, I'm not scared. We went to Corvallis last year and beat Oregon State. I'm not scared to go to Clemson. Like, get out of here. I think we match up pretty damn well with them. But like I asked you, do you want Tennessee? And I do. And I want that ass at Plainsman Park. Okay, that's where I want them. And
we're supposed to have them. We're supposed to have them, and the schedule changed, and
and we owe them one after last year. We owe them one.
We gave that one away.
We gave it away, but there was some things that were said, and like we've mentioned before, with Hayden's mom coming out and saying that like the Tennessee fans were on their necks and everything, and you know, that was the elbow game for Hayden, and he ended up having to have Tommy John and all that stuff. So like, we owe that ass one, and that is why I want Tennessee to come out of that regional, and I want the Auburn and Tennessee matchup, the super regional matchup at Plainsman Park. But how big, Dustin? How big would that be for Auburn to host a super regional? Just say Tennessee does come out of that Clemson regional. How big would that be for a super regional at Plainsman Park, bro?
You can't. I don't think you can overstate it. What that would mean for the growth of baseball, the spotlight that would put on Auburn baseball. Yeah, it would be huge because you already know that the Auburn fans are going to show up and show out. I mean, you know what this weekend's going to be. So imagine what a super regional is going to be. It'll be unbelievable, man. I really pray that it happens because if it's Tennessee versus Auburn super regional, that's going to be 10 out of 10 on the hype scale. Do this. I mean, that's going to be awesome. When you talk about I wanted to say this, when you talk about the home run in the SEC tournament, to the umpire that followed him halfway up first base.
Oh, God.
The game ain't about you, brother. I know you want it to be. I know you think that I stayed up till 1 o'clock in the morning on a work night to watch you, but I didn't. Yeah. I'm there to watch the kids play baseball, and you look like a straight up buffoon. I laughed for 30 minutes at that dude because what's going through your head? Like, what are you thinking that you're accomplishing? That was pretty silly to me. But yeah, dude, I'm really hoping it's Tennessee, and that would just be, dude, oh my goodness. I mean, the parking deck, what's going to be going on? in the outfield. Yeah, dude, unbelievable. I hope it happens, and I think there's a really high possibility of it happening.
Love that. Any plans to go up, Dustin?
We'll see, man. Not this weekend. I can't do it this weekend. That end of the month, first of the month, when all the bills are due, especially the big one. But we'll see, man. There's a good possibility I'll at least try to make that outfield or Tiger Terrace or something if we get Tennessee at Auburn in the Super Regional. It'll be hard to turn that down, man.
Yeah, man. I was kind of thinking about going up Saturday and watching that Auburn and Southern Miss matchup if we do get that matchup. Like the parking deck gets rowdy. I know that's going to be a big thing. I would like to sit out in right center, pull me a chair up, sit out in right center, and just crack me open a nice little beverage and chill. Or I'll stand on the parking deck. I don't care, but I'm bringing this
out there at center, bro. Like I stood out there before one of the games I went to this year, just kind of watching like BP and stuff, and I was like, this isn't a bad spot for. And it's free during the regular season. You can just walk out there. So, that ain't bad at all. They might charge, like $5, $10. I don't care if they charge $20 for the regional. That's still a really good spot.
Yeah, and, I brought this up, man, because Auburn sold out. How fast for regional tickets?
It was within an hour, man. It was because I was just gonna glance at the tickets to see what it looked like, and then before I even had a chance, I saw the tweet, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, the tweet said, "Go to StubHub, all right, because we don't have any more tickets here." Yeah. I mean, that is so big for this program, just back-to-back years. And I listened to what Butch had to say today. You're the first team to do this. You laid the groundwork for Auburn baseball for the teams in the years to come. They can look back at this group and said, hey, they were the group that went to back-to-back regionals. They hosted back-to-back regionals at Plainsman Park. So now those kids can say, hey, we want to host back-to-back super regionals at Plainsman Park. So the ante keeps getting upped, right? The ante keeps getting upped. And just a few short years ago, we were on a 20-year drought of not knowing what Omaha, Nebraska felt like. And now you're in a pool of 10 to 15 collegiate baseball programs that expect to go year in and year out.
Right.
I mean, honestly, you all right. I know my buddy DG at Florida, they expect to go year in, year out. LSU expects to go year in, year out. I know Mississippi State and Ole Miss are down, but they expect to go year in, year out. That was huge news about Mike Bianco and his contract. Ole Miss doesn't think they're going to renew that thing, is what I saw on Twitter a while ago. So, yikes. But hey, just because you get hot and make a run and win a national championship, you come back the next year and don't make the tournament, your ass is out.
Yes, so Gene Chizik.
That's how much SEC baseball means. Okay, yep. People want to say, oh, college baseball isn't a big sport. It's not global. It's not nationwide and everything. It's still big. It still matters here in the South, and you see that with all of the national seeds and all the hosting sites. I think 15 out of the 16 were in the Southeast or something, or 13 out of the 16 were in the Southeast.
Yeah, there's Oklahoma State is out, Stanford's out, and then Indiana State, and then everything else is right in there.
Yeah, so 13 out of the 16 host sites, Southeastern states. So incredible. And look, I know I wanted to say something before we get off here, and I know this might not hit with Auburn fans. You might not like it, but I do want to give a shout out to the Alabama baseball kids. All right. Yeah. I want to give a
you're gonna catch hell. Finish, but you're gonna catch hell.
I might catch hell, Dustin, but I gotta do it, bro. I gotta do it because I just want to say this, man. I just want to say this. They're hosting a regional in Tuscaloosa. All right. And to me, I'm gonna look past the rivalry here one time.
Right.
And I'm going to look at these kids and what they went through in just a month ago. and they found out that their head coach was betting on them to lose baseball games. And what better way than him to get fired and you end up hosting a regional?
Yeah.
So I do want to stand up and salute those kids on that baseball team and say, I'm damn proud of you for responding the way that you did. I know it's a rivalry. I know it's the most heated rivalry in the country. And I hate Alabama with a passion, but I am damn proud of those kids. And I will tip my cap to each and every one of them for getting baseball in the state of Alabama on a different level now, bro. Because, like, we know this is a football state, Dustin. We know that. Basketball come in and took that second slot, right? But now you got baseball coming in and saying, hey, not so fast, basketball. Like, we want that second slot because there'll never be another one spot. All right. This is a football state, bro.
Yeah.
But baseball is here. And to see Troy, Auburn, Sanford, Alabama just speaks volumes to how great this state actually is in baseball, because I don't think we get the love we deserve for being a baseball state. And so I do want to shout out those kids, man, and everything they went through. I think that's a super, super big accomplishment for that Alabama baseball team.
Yeah, the rivalry's fun, but it's only fun when it's on the up and up. Like, it's not fun if their coach is actively sabotaging them. Like, that's not cool. That's not how you want to win. Now, we didn't win anyway, but nevertheless. And I only said that you were going to catch hell because, as you saw, I kind of said what you had said because it was Friday. Their softball team had lost, and I don't even know if their softball team ended up winning the series. I just know they had lost game 1.
They did.
And then their baseball team got eliminated. And there was a section of the Auburn fans that felt like dunking on Alabama, saying, ha, 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 y'all just got eliminated. And I just pointed out that's a little ridiculous coming from us because did you forget what they did to us yesterday? They literally eliminated us from the tournament. And we played them 4 times, and they beat us 3 out of 4. And they beat us both games in basketball. And they beat us in football. And I can go down the line here. I've already done it before on this podcast. So it's like, I just pointed that out. Like, that's a little silly. You got to kind of tip your cap. I don't like it any more than anybody else does. But, if you beat me, you beat me. And I use this analogy. If Jose Aldo was celebrating Khabib's victory over Conor McGregor, would you care what Jose had to say? No, because Conor knocked Jose out in 13 seconds.
Yep.
So if I get in a fight with a guy 4 times and he beats me in 3 of them, and then I hear that Timmy down the street knocked him out, I'm not going to go around town bragging about what Timmy did to him.
Yeah.
Because he whooped my ass.
Yeah.
But whatever Timmy did to him is what Timmy did to him. But when me and him squared up, he whooped my ass. So I just tip my cap to you and say, okay, that's all I did. And next thing I know, and here's the kicker, Blake. Here's the real kicker. There are a couple of y'all, I want to call you out by name because I know you listen to this podcast. I know you do. You comment and all kind of stuff. You retweet our podcast. Some of y'all liked the tweet calling me a Bama fan for pointing that out. It doesn't make me a Bama fan to say they got us, okay? It doesn't.
It's the truth.
You're only doing Auburn a disservice by not acknowledging it. Because how can you get better if you don't acknowledge the problem? Alabama dominated us in athletics this year. If you think it's anything else, then you're not paying attention, or you've literally got in one of Elon's rocket and gone up and sat on the sun, and it's so shoved so far up your ass that you can't pump nothing but sunshine. I just thought it was the most ridiculous, just the most ridiculous take of anything that I've ever had, like that happened on. I was just like, okay. And I'm just trying to point out, like you just pointed out, props to these kids, man. Their coach was throwing games, all this turmoil, and they buckled down and won 40 games in the SEC. Like, there's nothing to say about them. And like you said, football state, look how crazy basketball was this year. Like, the trash talk online and in person was probably more this year for basketball than it was for football. Now, a lot of it is that as Auburn being a 5-win team going into the Iron Bowl and both teams being good in basketball. But, like, obviously basketball's taking a big step. Now we're both hosting regionals in baseball, man. The state of Alabama is just getting better and better at all the other athletics. Like you said, football will always be king, but we needed to raise our game in this other stuff, and we have. And it's just fun to watch, and that's what makes a rivalry fun. This team we got to be on the same level, you know? We got to be on the same level. I love beating them 60 years in a row. I wouldn't mind going back to those days, but it's, you know what I mean? But it's fun, man, when both teams are good, both teams are competent. And yeah, dude, and it should just leave a sour taste in your mouth that they got us the way that it did. And which is when this next school year rolls around, that should be like a big focus of Auburn athletics is, okay, we got to kind of regain that state championship that they got us to. But don't be stupid and act like they didn't get us.
I agree.
Sorry I went off on my rant, but that was dumb. I had some dumb interactions this weekend off that one.
Nah, it's the truth, bro. Like they killed us, and you know that 3 out of 4 in baseball, it hurt.
Yeah,
it hurt. Like it stung. It you know, the way I've looked at the SEC tournament was, you know, like I said earlier, I didn't. It didn't really bother me that we got eliminated, but it was just the fact that it was 3 out of 4 to Alabama, you know?
Yeah.
And so my buddy messaged me and he was like, how about that Tide, you know? And I was just like, man, I was like, what do I say back, you know? And I just put back, I was like, you got us, you know?
Scoreboard, man.
And then I texted him back and I was like, you know, at the end of the day, I'm not really mad that you got us today because – let's be honest, the last 5 SEC champions have failed to make it to Omaha. So I didn't want to win it. So I did want to beat you, though, but it didn't happen. So I guess this conversation is just kind of dead, you know, and that was it, man. That was all we really had to say to each other because I can't talk. I can't talk. And, you know, I get where you're coming from with everybody's like online. Oh, you got pummeled by Vandy and knocked out of the SEC tournament. Bro, we got pummeled by Vandy too. All right. I know Bryson Ware hit a 9th inning home run to make it 6-4, but we played like dog shit in that Vanderbilt game, and it was 6-2 going into the 9th. Like they put it on us, you know.
And you're kind of a softball team that advanced farther than we did.
Yeah. You talking about Alabama softball? Yeah,
because they lost on the same day. They both lost on the same day, baseball and softball, and that was a thing that was going around that was viral. Everybody was like, "Ha ha ha!" They lost in both games, and I'm just like, neither one of these apply to us being able to talk shit.
Well, they come back and won the series, and now they're going to Oklahoma City to play in the World Series. So there you go.
Okay, exactly.
Yeah, they come back. They come back and beat Northwestern both games, and they're moving on. So
and our whole team is transferring, but keep making fun of them.
Our whole team's transferring. Apparently, our softball coach is doesn't know how to talk to females. Apparently, from everybody online, and
year 7 loading.
Yeah, I mean, haven't won a regional. I don't know, but Dustin. Before we get out of here, before we wrap things up, man, like always, we leave you with your final thoughts, your final words. What you got?
You mentioned it about how fast the tickets sold out. So here's my thing with that. Let's get that super regional. Let's sell that thing out too, man. Let's make this atmosphere as loud and as hype as we possibly can because those upgrades to plainsmen are coming. But let's just make sure, man, let's show Cohen, let's show these boosters, let's show these guys that are responsible for this, that this is an investment that has to be made. Because last year is what kind of put it over the edge. We had people hanging off the parking deck. We had people hanging off the fences outside. So we need that same atmosphere again to show them this is where money well spent. We just talked about it with Harrison. There's only so much money to go around, okay? These boosters, Jimmy Rain and them, they only got so much money. On to victory, they've only got so much money. Like there's only so much money that there is to spend on this stuff. Mm-hmm. So this is important. It's important to the growth of this baseball team. Let's say we host a regional next year. How awesome would that be for the 3rd year in a row? We would be able to host 10,000 people with these upgrades that are coming. So I'm not saying it's dependent on it. Obviously, it's going to happen, but let's just reassure these guys on the board of trustees and everybody involved in those kind of decisions that this is the right decision to make. Let's make a statement to the SEC, to the nation, that we are a baseball program that is locked in and here to stay for the next decade.
Love that, Dustin. And we are so damn proud of this baseball program, so damn proud of these players, so damn proud of this coaching staff, everything, man.
Yep.
The entire university to just have this atmosphere at Plainsman and to have this excitement within the fan base to see us as the number 13 overall national seed.
Awesome.
It is awesome. And you know, like Butch always says, we expect to get to Omaha and
Yep.
we expect to win now. So damn it, let's go out there Friday and let's start the journey. Let's do it for Case and Howell and these seniors, and I know they're going to be ready. I'm excited, man. I'm excited, Dustin. I think this baseball team is special. Hopefully Christian Herberholtz is healthy. Hopefully he's locked back in, and we are 100% ready to go Friday at 6:00 versus Penn. First pitch coming at you. So thank you, each and every one of you, for joining this podcast, watching. If you could get us over 300 subscribers on the YouTube channel, go over to Apple Podcasts, like the show, rate the show, comment, tell us what you love about the show. And we really appreciate each and every one of you. Click the bell for notifications for when we drop our content, so you will get notified. And like I said, we love each and every one of you. And like always, we'll leave you with a war damn eagle. We'll catch you on the next one. Out.